Hey YouTube, Kira Twig here, bringing you all my True Draco Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile for Post Battles of Legends Chapter 1. This was the deck that definitely, I did not like playing against at locals whenever I would see it, but this is more when the deck was at its full power, with Masterpiece still being off the ban list. A card that, I don't know, with today's format, I don't know if it can, come off the ban list, if it's still too powerful or not, if it's in the same category as Apocryphal Towers for Clifforts, and that card is completely off the ban list. We'll have to wait and see. It is a pretty powerhouse card, and this deck is more of a control play style. So we have the added support and some of the cards that have been off the list for a while, including Dragonic Diagram, still to help with the deck. I actually don't even remember if I've ever done a True Draco deck on the channel or not, or if I just, despise the deck way too much to ever even look at the cards. But let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So for the main deck monsters, our main deck consists of the True Draco cards. I want to run 3 Dynamite, but sadly I only have the 2, so I have Metaltron 7, the True Draco Combatant, as just a placeholder. You can even remove the copies of this card for a 2 of count if you wished, or you could take out an additional copy of Ignis Heat for a 3rd copy of Dynamite and just run 2 Ignis Heat, and then increase your trap lineup, which is also a big part of the deck. But the big thing with the True Draco monsters is you can also tribute continuous spell or traps you control instead of monsters, and once per turn, when your opponent activates a card or effect while you control this tribute summon monster, quick effect, you can take 1 True Draco or True King continuous trap from your deck and either activate it or add it to your hand. So more of a setup for some of the more powerhouse cards like True Draco Apocalypse and also True King's Return for you to be able to set up on the field. And then those cards also have additional card effects, being able to destroy cards on the field when they are sent from the spell and trap card zone to the graveyard. So even half of the tribute for your True Draco monsters. I also run 3 copies of Ignis Heat, the True Draco Warrior. To tribute summon this card, you can tribute a continuous spell or trap you control instead. Being a lower level monster, it only needs the 1 of to do so. And once per turn, when your opponent activates a card or effect while you control this tribute summon monster, quick effect, you can take 1 True Draco or True King continuous spell from your deck and either activate it or add to your hand. So more setup, just like how Dynamite sets up your traps, you can use your Ignis Heat to search your spells, just giving you more and more search power in response to your opponent's cards. With the last of the True Draco monsters being 2 copies, or once again, there's the Draco Combatant placeholder, Majesty Maiden, the True Draco Slayer. To tribute this card, having the same spell and trap card setup, once per turn when your opponent activates a card or effect while you control this tribute summon monster, you can add 1 True Draco or True King monster from your deck to hand. So they all work together, with the others searching the spell or the traps. Your Majesty Maiden helps to search out the monsters. So you have search power for everything, just needing to get these monsters on the field. And Dynamite needing the 2 tributes, while your Majesty Maiden and your Ignis Heat just needed the 1 tribute. Now, the other main powerhouse in the deck is Dragonic Diagram. This is why I said post Battles of Legends Chapter 1, because we did have this card reprinted in a common form, which was another reason I wanted to take a look at the deck. All True Draco and True King monsters on the field gain 300 attack and defense. The first time each tribute summon True Draco King or True King monster would be destroyed by battle each turn. It's not, and once per turn you can destroy 1 other card you control or in your hand if you do add 1 True Draco or True King card from your deck to your hand. So this gives you more setup for those cards as well, being able to have that destruction power, being able to make use of the continuous spell traps we destroy as well on the field to destroy another card our opponent controls, while also being able just to add more and more of the True Draco engine to our hand, and then having more protection for those cards we have on the field, with this card being in the field spell zone. Also running 3 copies of Disciples of the True Draco Phoenix. You can target 3 True Draco or True King cards in your graveyard, shuffle them into the deck, then draw 1 card. During your main phase, you can immediately, after this effect resolves, tribute summon 1 True King or True Draco monster face up. And if this card is sent to the graveyard but in the spell and trap card zone, you can target 1 spell or trap on the field and destroy. There's the destruction play I mentioned before, so you have the tribute of these cards, making use of your True Draco summons, and then the additional destruction play that these cards can do also. I only have 2 copies of True Draco Heritage. If I were to run a 3rd copy, when you can just once again take out 1 of the staple spots for a 3rd copy of this card, with this card being able to draw equal to the number of True Draco or True King card types on the sent from the field or graveyard this turn, so giving you more search off of your spell and traps there as well, and then being able to immediately after this effect resolves, tribute 1 True Draco or True King monster as well, and then having the spell or trap destruction off of this card also. For some of the other more generic spells in the deck, I run 3 copies of Time Tearing Morganite. We don't have any hand traps in this deck, so we don't have to really worry about being being able to activate monster effects in the hand. And with this card, for the rest of this duel, you apply the following effects. You can activate monster effects in the hand, as I mentioned before, and you draw 2 cards instead of 1 for your normal draw phase, giving you more of a draw setup to have more of a back row setup also. And you can conduct 2 normal summons or set per turn, and not just 1, giving you more, access to your true Draco monsters because of it. I also run the 2 copies of Pot of Duality and the 2 copies of Pot of Desires. I like Desires in the deck. It's just more draw power, being able to use Duality for searching into some of the more specific cards. You really aren't going to special summon much in this deck or at all, so Duality won't hurt you as well, being able to get a search for a specific card. And then once you have your needed engine set up, being able to use Desires to then just have more of a draw consistency in your hand, with the last of the spells being 1 copy of Terraforming and the 1 card of Demise. You can just draw into more of what you need with card of Demise, and then being able to just set up a full back row, which is what you should be able to do most of the time also with this deck. I also run, now moving on to the traps, 3 copies of True Draco Apocalypse. If this card's sent from the spell and trap card zone to the graveyard, you can target 1 monster on the field and destroy it. So all these spells destroy spell and traps. The traps destroy monsters. You can target 1 other True Draco or True King you control, destroy it. If you do, the attack and defense of all face-up monsters your opponent can currently control become half their current attack and defense, even if this card leaves the field. So more of a permanent weakness for your opponent's cards, but also during your opponent's main phase, you can immediately, after this effect resolves, tribute summon 1 True King or True Draco monster face up, having more of a response on your opponent's turn as well with your True Draco cards. I also run the 3 copies of True King's Return. With this card, if it's sent from the spell and trap card zone to the graveyard, you can target 1 monster on the field, destroy it. You can activate the following effects of True King's Return in the same chain. You can target 1 True Draco or True King monster in your graveyard, special summon it in defense. Also for the rest of this turn, you cannot special summon. So being more of a special summon card, or one of the only special summon resources in the deck, it's still useful to be able to at least set up those cards as well. And then during your opponent's main phase, you can immediately, after this card resolves, tribute summon 1 True Draco or True King monster face up. So just like the Apocalypse, you should also have the setup of this other trap on the field, which can easily be set up thanks to Dynamite also. For some of the more generic traps in the deck also, 3 copies of Skill Drain. This can just shut down a good number of cards your opponent has. The main plays you can rely on still in your deck would be the True Draco spell or traps, and then being able to still use the protection play of Draconic Diagram. You'll be shutting your opponent down a lot more with this card than you would be your own cards. And also 1 copy of Rivalry of Warlords, 1 copy of There Can Only Be One, and the 1 copy of Summon Limit. This can be mixed or matched with some of the other cards in the deck. Like if you wanted to drop the numbers down for True Draco Combatant, you can bump up some of the numbers for Summon Limit to add for this spot, with the last of our traps just being 3 copies of Solemn Judgment for more protection for our back row, because Harpy's Feather Duster is a thing. If the ban list is revealed before this time comes out, I know that Heavy Storm was also a thing, but really going up against this deck, I really hope your opponent wouldn't use or think to use Harpy's Feather Duster, because that may hurt them more than it would hurt you. But that is it for the deck. As for some of the go-to plays, like I said, this is a very heavy control deck, so the main focus is to just set up the tributes that you can do and then make use of just playing around your opponent. There's really not much to a combo setup in this deck, aside from just having your search for cards like Draconic Diagram, knowing which True Draco card to go into at these specific times also. But as always, until next time, and once again, extra deck is a very important part. You don't really special summon much, so we're not running an extra deck in this lineup either. You can go for a more generic lineup, but a lot of the special summon restrictions in this deck falls into the category that you really don't need one for this deck to begin with. But as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Twig out.